Hi Sarah, thanks for taking the time to quickly meet with me today during your prep. I just want to touch base and discuss the results of the assessment we ran last week and to review a potential behavioral strategy that you can use in your classroom to help support your student Doug. So I just wanted to quickly recap what we went over last week before we jump into some new information. So Doug just turned 4 years old and recently started in your preschool class. Doug does not have a formal diagnosis, but he's been engaging in increased levels of challenging behavior compared to his same-aged peers. The challenging behavior observed in your classroom has been defined as property destruction and aggression. All right, so the last time we met, we discussed an assessment called a functional analysis to determine why Doug is engaging in challenging behavior in your classroom setting. So as we discussed, all challenging behavior serves a purpose, and the function refers to why the behavior is occurring. We went over each function in more detail last week. The results of the functional analysis that was conducted with Doug in the classroom identified that access to attention is maintaining Doug's aggression and property destruction. So in other words, Doug is likely engaging in challenging behavior to get attention from others in the class. So now that we have an idea as to why Doug is engaging in challenging behavior, we can teach him a more appropriate and safe way to access your attention. Today I'll be reviewing a behavioral procedure called differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, also known as a DRA. It's a bit of a mouthful, but essentially what it means is that we will be rewarding Doug when he engages in an alternative and appropriate behavior, and we will stop rewarding Doug when he engages in challenging behavior. We implement a DRA only after we've determined why the challenging behavior is likely occurring so that we can teach an alternative way for him to access the same reward. All right, so there's two main components of a DRA. The first component is that we will reward occurrences of the desirable alternative behavior. So every time Doug says, "play with me," he will get attention. We chose the request "play with me" as the alternative behavior because Doug has no difficulty with vocal speech, so it will require less effort for him to say this phrase than to engage in the challenging behavior. The second component is that we will withhold rewards for challenging behavior. So when Doug engages in aggression or property destruction, he will not receive attention. This includes reprimands such as "don't do that" or "stop it." So the DRA procedure was chosen for Doug as past research has found to be effective and feasible for educators to implement in the classroom setting. I wanted to share one peer-reviewed article in particular by Wright and colleagues from 2006 that shares a lot of similarities to Doug's case. The researchers conducted the functional analysis with 2 male students who engaged in challenging behavior in a classroom setting. One of the reasons for their challenging behavior was also to access attention. The DRA was implemented for both students, and the results demonstrated that the DRA procedure successfully decreased how often they were engaging in challenging behavior and increased appropriate requesting for both students. All right, so now that we know that this procedure has been successfully implemented in the classroom setting to reduce challenging behavior, let's talk a little bit more about how and when to use a DRA. Essentially, you'll be running the DRA procedure during regularly scheduled activities in your classroom and providing Doug with plenty of opportunities to make the request, "play with me." We will provide you with an example script of a statement to tell Doug at the beginning of the day to explain the expectation so he knows how to access your attention. So for example, you may say, "All right, Doug, if you hurt your friends or your toys, I can't play with you. But if you say 'play with me,' we can play together." Each time Doug makes the request without engaging in any challenging behavior, you'll praise him and play with him for 30 seconds. But if Doug engages in challenging behavior, you're not going to provide him any attention. This includes verbal statements, and this will happen while ensuring his safety and the safety of those around him. So again, this is the first step to the procedure, and the objective is that over time, Doug will learn the connection that appropriate requesting results in your attention, whereas property destruction and aggression do not. All right, so during our next scheduled in-person meeting, we'll practice this procedure and how to collect data to track the effectiveness of the program in case we need to make any changes. Between now and then, please write down any questions or concerns you may have. You can always reach me by email or by phone. Thank you again for taking the time to meet with me, and have a great rest of your day.